Angel, Michelle. I have something to tell you, the doctor said, his voice calm, but a hint of dread lingered in his words. Angel's heart pounded as she sat upright, her hand gripping Michelle's so tightly her knuckles turned white. The room felt too quiet, the air too thick. Michelle squeezed back, trying to silently offer comfort. We've run the test, the doctor began, his tone measured. The cancer. It's treatable. Angel blinked, her heart giving a sudden leap of hope. Michelle let out a quiet sigh of relief, a brief smile crossing her face. But the doctor wasn't done. His expression darkened, and the brief sense of hope hanging in the air evaporated. There's more, he said, his voice quiet. The pregnancy, it's not what we thought. Angel's mind struggled to catch up. Her mouth went dry. Michelle's hand went limp in hers, both of them sensing something bad was coming. You're not pregnant, the doctor said finally. The symptoms, the bleeding, the swelling, it wasn't a baby. It's the tumor. We need to act fast. Angel felt the ground beneath her collapse. The words barely made sense. How could everything change so quickly? Her dreams of becoming a mother were torn away in an instant, replaced by the cold reality that it was cancer she had been carrying all along. Tears streamed down her face as the room spun. Michelle pulled her into a hug, but nothing could ease the devastating weight pressing down on Angel's chest. I thought, Angel's voice cracked, her body trembling. I thought I was going to be a mother. Michelle held her tightly, her own tears falling silently as she stroked Angel's hair, whispering words of comfort, but both knew this was a pain that words couldn't soothe. The surgery happened quickly. Michelle barely left Angel's side, sitting outside the operating room for hours that felt like days. When the doctor finally emerged, exhaustion was etched into his face. The surgery went well, he said. But the next few days are critical. We'll have to wait and see. Angel's physical recovery was slow, but her emotional wounds were far deeper. The loss of the life she thought she was carrying haunted her every waking moment, and even in her sleep, nightmares plagued her. But through every breakdown, every silent tear, Michelle was there, her support unwavering. Yet just as Angel began to find some sense of stability, the past returned to shake her fragile world. One evening, as Angel rested after a particularly tough therapy session, there was a knock at the door. Michelle opened it, and the air in the room immediately shifted. Standing there were Angel's parents, two figures she hadn't seen in years, two people she never expected to see again. Her mother's eyes were red and swollen from crying. Angel, she started, her voice breaking. We've come to say we are sorry. Angel's heart froze in her chest. Her parents had abandoned her when she was just a teenager, leaving her to face the world alone. Now, after all this time, after all she had been through, they stood before her, asking for forgiveness. You left me, Angel's voice was cold, her body stiff with years of buried anger. You walked away when I needed you most. Her father's voice trembled. We didn't know what to do back then, Angel. We were scared. But we want to make things right now. The room fell into a suffocating silence. Michelle, standing by Angel's side, placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Angel's hands shook, her heart pounding with rage, grief, and the remnants of a love she had long since buried. I forgive you, Angel said finally, her voice low but filled with pain. But I don't know if I can let you back in my life. Her mother sobbed, her face contorted in regret, but Angel turned away, too wounded to face them anymore. Her parents left, their heads bowed in shame, but the damage had already been done. Time passed, and while Angel's body healed, her soul remained bruised and fragile. She started attending therapy to face the trauma of her illness and the abandonment that haunted her. Michelle remained by her side, a constant presence in her life, helping her navigate the dark moments. Then, one night, Angel's phone rang. It was the hospital. "Angel, we have a situation," the doctor said, his voice urgent. "There's a young girl here. She's going through something very similar to what you did. She needs someone who's been through it. Can you come?" Angel hesitated, her heart racing. The thought of revisiting the place where her life had nearly crumbled terrified her. But something inside her told her she needed to help. "You have to go," Michelle said softly, her eyes filled with understanding. "You could be the one to help her." The hospital room was cold and sterile, the smell of antiseptic hanging in the air. Angel and Michelle entered cautiously, their hearts pounding. In the bed lay a young girl named Sarah, her face pale and eyes hollow with fear. Angel saw herself in the girl's broken gaze, the same desperation, the same terror. Angel knelt beside her, taking her hand gently. "I know what you're feeling," she whispered. "I've been where you are. But you're not alone. We're here." Tears filled Sarah's eyes, but there was a flicker of hope, a small spark Angel recognized from her own darkest moments. As she spoke, the door creaked open behind them. Angel turned, and her heart nearly stopped. Standing in the doorway, shrouded in shadow, was a man, a figure from Angel's past, one she had long tried to forget. Her body went cold as the memories she had buried came rushing back, suffocating her. Michelle's eyes widened in confusion as she watched Angel freeze, her face draining of color. The man stepped forward, his voice low and sinister. "You thought you could escape me, didn't you?" Angel's breath caught in her throat. Her mind screamed for her to move, to do something, but she was paralyzed by fear. This man, this monster, had shattered her life once before. And now, he was back. Michelle stood protectively beside Angel, her own heart racing, but neither of them knew what to do. The man's eyes locked onto Angel's. "This isn't over," he whispered, a chilling smile creeping across his face. Angel's blood ran cold. She knew in that moment that whatever darkness she had escaped was about to pull her back in. The nightmare was far from over, and this time, there was no telling how deep it would go.